And we're set for round 11 of the $500,000 World Series Sprint Cars Travelling Circus at the Winds Newcastle Speedway, under new management this year. Originally the Newcastle Motordrome, and somewhat of a facelift at the circuit. You can see an infield concrete wall, so no one will want to run too far on the infield. Terry McCall in the Twister CR&D chassis on the pole alongside Brooke Tatnell. Kerry Madsen alongside him, Andrew Shirley, who's done very well tonight too. Look at McCall and Tatnell running to turn 1 and 2. Well, Terry McCall out of Iowa, blasting into turn number 3 and 4 into the race lead. Madsen back in 4th, but having some trouble. Here comes Andrew Shirley. Well, Madsen very keen to throw it in. You can see a contrast to last week's track. A fair bit of hooky stuff this time around. There is the Put Your logo here. Walker Engines Grizzly of Kerry Madsen. Skipping away to a comfortable advantage is this man right here, the CR&D number 77 Twister chassis, owned by Sid Moore, driven by Terry McCall from Knoxville in the USA. Out of turn number 2, Tatnell trying to run him down, the Sans Souci Screamer in the Shell Helix number 8. There is Kerry Madsen, who was very fast in qualifying, always is. David Anderson with some trouble off the back in the Wagga Mobile Cranes number 37. Look at McCall. This chassis is working well. Out of turn 4 in the Goodyear Eagle Dash. This to decide who starts up the front in the 30-lap main event here at Winds Newcastle Speedway. Brooke Tatnell in the Kelly & Associates number 8. He's won a lot of races around this place. Checkered flag is out. McCall gets it from Tatnell. In 3rd, back then to Trevor Green. Back then to Kerry Madsen. Good result for this man here, the American. Flying the flag for the Stars and Stripes, goes to pole in round number 11, coming up shortly. Well, we get set for the World Series Sprint Cars, round 11, and the crowd on their feet here at Winds Newcastle Speedway. Just look at them, they're going absolutely ape as we set for the 4-wide salute. Some talent in this one. Peter Kraft in the 86 Kraft Differentials Grizzly has qualified pretty well up the order. So too has Bob Jackson, one of the many brothers of Skip Jackson. There's your front row. Terry McCall after winning the dash alongside Brooke Tatnell. Trevor Green from 3. From 4, Kerry Madsen. From 5, Andrew Shirley. From 6, David Anderson. You saw Skip Jackson a little bit further back in the order than he would have liked. Max Dumsney likewise. He starts back on the 4th row inside. Skip Jackson starts alongside Max. 4th row outside. Back to Bob Jackson and Peter Kraft. Terry Bracken starts on the inside 5th row. Back then to Nathan McDonald. Brett Loadsman starts in behind there. Getting through from the B main earlier on is Darren Jensen and Danny Smith. He gets set for a start this time around. Danny Smith off the back's going to have to work hard. I think that might even be Joel Knott off the tail. Into turn 1 and 2 we go, and Danny Smith in the 77 Twister car goes into the lead, but Tatnell won't want to let him do that. Nice surface tonight, very drivey. Skip Jackson looking to go forward on the inside of David Anderson. A couple of Queenslanders in that equation. Jensen back in there with Nathan McDonald. There's another Queenslander. They're everywhere this year. Andrew Shirley in the 95, Lucas Oils Maxim. A lot of Maxims out there too. Man leading, however, in a Twister chassis owned by Sid Moore's CR&D is your leader. Skip coming forward, has already hosed Anderson. Max is going forward too. Trevor Green in 3rd, Madsen in 4th. Back then, I think it was Andrew Shirley. Look at McCall doing a nice job out of turn number 4. Good crowd in attendance. The World Series drawing excellent crowds wherever they travel to. And look at McCall, very settled. Pitches the car in. Not a huge amount of adjusting to the line. Watch his left arm. You'll see whether he's busy. Tatnell still in the 2nd spot. Trevor Green, the South Aussie, looking very strong tonight. Someone's just gone onto the infield, but obviously gathered it back up with the erection of the concrete wall on the inside. You don't want to get too far on the inside. Peter Kraft in the Kraft Differentials, 86 Grizzly, about to come into play here. Oh, McCall, cool in a crisis. Picks up the spot, and Kraft, a lot of experience behind the wheel, doesn't want to mess up anybody's race, moves out of the way. Brooke is right there still. They're going to come up on Joel Knott very shortly. Kraft has got some trouble. He goes to the infield. Look how much higher on the track they're running now. Trevor Green running through the middle. So is Madsen. Jackson a little bit higher. David Anderson. Max Dumsney. Bob Jackson. Terry Bracken. Andrew Shirley. Into turn number 3 and 4. Tetron turn as it's known. Brooke Tatnall trying to shift McCall out of the way. He's right there. Once again, he needs to be close, and he knows it. He's got to be close when the lap cars are there. That's when the opportunities may arise. 21 laps to go in round 11 of the World Series Sprint Cars. Joel Knott goes to the bottom and stays out of the way. Brooke motors around the outside, keeping McCall in his gun sights. McCall opens up a little bit of ground down the straightaways. Brooks making that real estate back up in the corners. Albury's David Anderson. Wagga Mobile Cranes, number 37 Maxim, the danger man of sprint car racing, especially in South Australia. He can crop up for a win without a moment's notice. Well, McCall has run high a couple of times, and Brooke Tatnall has not quite been close enough to capitalise. Well, he gave it a good look then. The old college try and peeled off a lot of ground. 17 laps remaining. Brooke very sideways out of the turns. Look at his left arm, though, just hardly moving. Brett Loadsman up ahead with Danny Smith and Darren Jensen. They're about to put a lap down on the 33 Van Man Gambler. The budget racer, Brett Loadsman, who goes high at exactly the wrong moment for him, but perfect moment for Terry McCall. Danny Smith, I should say, was just up ahead about 50 metres. Now McCall about to put a lap down on him. Well, this is a sweet moment for McCall. Trouble up ahead. Nathan McDonald and the Fraser Shores, number 32. Very nearly bringing the field undone, including the race leaders. It could have been nasty. Here he is there, the Bundaberg Bullet, as he's been known for many years. Talented youngster, never really racked up a big win. Certainly got the ability. Back at the restart now with Terry McCall in control, but if you look back in the field, you see that the lap cars have been left in their positions. A big puff of blue smoke then from Brooke Tatnall. Brett Loadsman is the lap car in the middle of these two, and Tatnall knows he's got to hurry. Well, Trevor Green gets through on the inside of Joel Knott. So they come onto the main straight. Kerry Madsen and Skip Jackson trying to get through as well with Max Dumsney. Back then to David Anderson. Brooke, now Loadsman moves up track very nicely and allows Tatnall to go through. He doesn't want to be in the way of this. Back in the field, a load of Queenslanders. Still your leader, Terry McCall, opening up a healthy advantage over Tatnall. Back in the field, Terry Bracken, Bob Jackson, and Andrew Shirley. Sydney Sider and a Queensland sandwich. Back then to Danny Smith and Darren Jensen. Well, gee, Danny Smith was saved the indignity of being lapped. Look at Danny still picking up the front wheels. Did that last weekend at Nyora when no one thought the place had any drive. Well, David Anderson, with suspected ignition problems, goes to the infield. Oh, look at McCall just sweeping into the turns, running very high. That's a great camera angle there because you get to see how sideways they are through the corners, how smooth they are coming out. Brooke running lower on the track. McCall has got a good head of steam up. The car drives very hard off the left rear wheel. You'll see it go out towards the wall, and he's just got this set so nicely. Loadsman in the middle now of Madsen, Jackson, and Dumsney coming on. Well, Max Dumsney starting to make a run here. McCall up very high. He's got to be careful. That's a couple times he's teased Brooke Tatnall. For one tantalising moment, Brooks had a shot at the race lead. Skip Jackson through on the inside of Loadsman now. Here comes Brooke. Well, I think McCall's car is starting to tighten up. When we say a car is tight, we mean that it pushes into the corner and drives up the track. The driver turns left, but the front wheels keep pushing it up the track. And now coming up on the lap car of McDonald, Brooke Tatnall's in a position to capitalise here. McCall doesn't want to mess around with the traffic. Diving in low. McDonald will come back across the track. Look at Brooke. Has always been right there. Runs in a little high. Will he try and square off the corner? Will he go to the top? Brooke Tatnall right there. This is an absolute thriller here. McCall, the car tightens up again. Tatnall there to get a look. Down the back straight. Only 7 laps to go. Brooke Tatnall is your leader. Well, he goes high. McCall comes back. Brilliant racing. World-class sprint car competition here, ladies and gentlemen. McCall comes back. Well, that's a cool head in a crisis. With 6 laps remaining, Brooke Tatnall had the lead for a moment. Ooh, McCall bangs the wall. You can see the white wall of the white paint off the wall. Well, will that change the handling characteristics of the car? Look at that. Looks like a Cadillac now with a set of white walls. McCall, your leader, but only just. Pressure situation. Tatnall's got to know if he can just get up there. Gee, McCall was so impressive. 4 laps to go. to not get phased. Then when Brooke got him, he had to readjust his line, and he had the momentum off the corner. Tatnall, to his credit, has been right there. Out of turn 2, down the D shape. The back straight is not actually a straight as such. Wins Newcastle Speedway is a D shape. Look at Brooke. Oh, he bangs the wall as well. Well, this has just got everything, hasn't it? Brooke could almost lean forward through the cage and grab the tail of McCall's car. He would have. Back in third is Trevor Green. In fourth, Max Dumsney starting to come forward here. He's up to fourth after starting way back in the order. Dumsney started from position 7, and he's coming forward now. Look at him running right up the track. A lot of the guys, look at Max, keeping the car very straight out of the turn. Ooh, Trevor Green moved up just a touch, but look at Max. That's why he's one of the most celebrated drivers in the nation. Look at this, Mr. Excitement. Max Dumsney, brilliant move around the outside. Checkered flag is out. Oh, Trevor Green has looped it with the checkers in sight. Taking the win will be McCall in second, Brooke Tatnall in third, Max Dumsney. Trevor Green stops coming out of turn number 4. A certain fourth placing now will put him to the tail. The American celebrates, and that is one of the best sprint car races you'll see, ladies and gentlemen. No, gentlemen.